Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of 10 Minute Tuesday. If you have not already, please like, share, and subscribe. Today's episode, I got my guy Habeeb in the building. Habeeb, what's going on, man?
Hey, going pretty well, man. How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for taking time out. So we've done a number of these, so go ahead, if you don't mind, introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, my name is Habeeb Kotun Jr. Born and raised here in Nashville, Tennessee. Originally got my degree in electrical engineering from Tennessee Tech University. Then after that, I spent a few years working in automotive and aerospace supplier quality engineering, and then made the transition over into the data science world when I decided to transition from that.
Awesome, man. So it looks like you've done a number of things: engineering, data science, analytics consulting right now. But really, what really compels you to get into data to begin with?
Yeah, so it actually started in my work in automotive and aerospace quality engineering. So those worlds are sort of slow in adapting new technology. So a lot of the data crunching we were doing was from like Access databases and just doing like pivot tables in Excel.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to find a way to implement some of the coding that I did from my electrical engineering background, implement that in a new, more efficient way in the current work I was doing. So that led me into utilizing Python to analyze some of this data. Then it led into, using Python for data analytics and sort of framing it in pandas as part of data science. And then it got me into predictive modeling. So that's sort of how I landed in learning about what data science even is and self-teaching myself. And then from there, I decided to transition from manufacturing to data science by doing a camp for school. And then that ended up landing my job here at Vanderbilt.
Awesome, man. So quite the journey to get from, where you started to understanding data science to now pivoting to a job at VUMC. So question for you, I love this question, is more or less about the journey of the person. It's not necessarily data related. So when you think about all the jobs you ever had in your life, it was like, I worked at a movie theater and I hate popcorn to this day. Or, I did something else. So think about your least favorite job, and to date, what is your least favorite job?
Um, I'll say my least favorite job was my second job when I moved out to California. Those were L3 Harris, their aerospace government consulting company. Nothing wrong with the company, great people I worked with. It was more so a transition point in my life, as it was for many people. It was during COVID that I moved out there, and I was really just thinking about what I really wanted to do. And the job was split between two things: that one I really wanted to do and one I didn't want to do. I had always done supplier quality engineering, so always working with our suppliers about their defect data and how they can improve. But my role at this point was split between that and product quality engineering. So actually having to do a lot of the in-house quality work with our production line, which I didn't quite enjoy. And like I mentioned earlier, it was really in a time where I was like really contemplating like what do I want to do, and I really want to spend my time doing what I want to do versus like having to be what I have to do because of the job description per se.
Got it. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely, being forced to do things I don't want to do versus like, here's what I actually want to do, and then fall in love with that passion. It's part of the journey.
Yep.
Okay, so thinking about it, we have a philosophy here that we follow. It's called failing forward. So, every single failure that you have is not necessarily a failure. It's a lesson that you're taking on along your path, along your journey. So think about that. What would you consider your biggest failure, quotation marks around failure, and what did you really learn around it? Let me start that over. One of the biggest things around failure. So what would you consider your biggest failure, and what did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, actually, it's the precursor to my previous answer. Um, it's not a specific project or anything from work. It's more so in my first role. I was fresh out of college, wanted to prove myself, and I did a lot of overextending of myself for the company and for the job. Just really wanted to prove myself, get a promotion, showed that I had a place there at that company. Also trying to attack some of the imposter syndrome I had, but that came with the sacrifice of my mental well-being and sacrificing a lot of family and friend time, which led into, if I'm doing all this for a job, I need to at least do it for something that I'm enjoying and I like.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think like as we progress in our career and who we are and getting comfortable with all the stuff that comes along with it, right? There's ethnic stuff there. There's different things that we battle with. But as we become more mature and just understanding who we are. Some of that is like, all right, now look, like I provide value. And if I'm going to be spending all this time, I need to be happy somewhat in this role. I can just be
Yeah.
like killing myself for no reason.
And you can't lose yourself in the role either. Cause I think that
Yeah.
was a big thing that was starting to happen to me. It's like my whole identity was becoming the job. I'm a
Yeah.
whole person outside of this job.
Yeah. Man, I've definitely fell victim to that, especially early on in my career where I think I just started getting like a little bit of quote unquote notoriety, right? People started recognizing me. Oh, you make dashboards, you make visualizations. And that started to like bleed into who I was as a human being. And it took some work to get out of that.
Yeah, man.
It took some real work. Okay. So thinking about the journey and everything that you go through, the target audience for this is people starting out in data, or they are trying to pivot into data, or they're just like already in the field. So, what is one piece of advice you give someone who's just starting out in their career?
Honestly, and this is honestly a cliche answer, but it's something that I've seen throughout my time. Continuous learning and implementation of that new learning is honestly the keys to longevity and your continuous professional growth. Take, for example, like the most recent thing that's happened this week in like the data world, DeepSeek
Yeah,
from China.
yeah,
Um, be all on top of that, understand like what's going on with that, why it's better than OpenAI, and then pay attention to what repercussions are going to come from that, what kind of policies are not just from a large scale the government's going to have, but what our individual companies going to be doing. For example, at VUMC, when OpenAI became a very big thing, ChatGPT, they actually banned ChatGPT as a something you can access from our servers, and they made their own version internally because they wanted to make sure that if you're using it, that none of the data leaks out.
yeah.
So it's just important, like if you're in the data world, pay attention to these new um, developments and just watch how they're like being adapted and into companies and regulated.
Got it, man. That's awesome. So I'm gonna go a little bit off script with this question because what you just
Yeah.
said is like it sparked something just now. So one of the things I hear, even myself and Paul victim to it, right? There's so much technology, there's so much news, there's so much content, there's so much whatever. Kind of walk me through your process of identifying what are the things that I need to keep up. And you said a key point earlier, right? Learn and implement. So kind of walk me through the process of like, I'm learning this because I want to implement it, or, I'm learning this maybe down the road, whatever it is, right? But what's like your process to get to that point to just understand the things that you want to understand in the tech world?
Yeah, so it's sort of twofold. So one, current events like this, you just want to be abreast of it and just sort of keep an eye on how they're developing. It's not really something that you want to like necessarily learn to like fast like implement per se. It could be down the road, but where we're still fresh in it, it's just to keep abreast on the information. But as far as like continuous development, either looking for new ways to solve problems in your job role or just doing like in the data role we have like data camp, data quest, just keeping a subscription up for those, just
Yeah.
doing new lessons within those, and then you learn something new that you think is interesting or could solve a new problem at work. You reverse and go back and use that new skill at work, and then you start building up your competency in that new thing, and then you have something new to add to your resume or just a new skill set under your belt in general.
Love it, love it. So a lot of problem solving, a lot of tinkering, continuous improvement, always trying to evolve and get better. And that's fantastic.
Mhm.
So another follow up question to that, right? We're all developers. We're all trying to grow. We're all trying to evolve. What's the thing that keeps you going and motivated?
I just keep saying new challenges for myself. I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but I'm currently in a master's program at Meharry Medical College. Of course, I did the data science boot camp through National Software School, but I wanted to delve a bit deeper into the machine learning side, and specifically the natural language processing side, and also do it in an environment with professors in a research environment. So I've been in Meharry's Master's of Data Science program since last January, and that's really what my current challenge is like trying to um, learn as much as I can from these professors, keep up with the classes while also trying to see what I can transfer back to Vanderbilt, and also a big time management project for myself because time management is a challenge I have, and this was a big challenge for me
I'm gonna say you're
between
not busy
school
at
and
all,
work.
man. You're not slab, man. That's crazy. But that's awesome too, right? So you're gonna reap the rewards of that in a big way. So cheering for you, brother.
Thank you,
Um,
thank you.
all right. So the next question is: tell me about the most influential people in your life and how they made an impact on you.
Yeah, Forewarning, not the cliche answers, but it's definitely my mom and dad. Both of my parents came to the U.S. Both immigrants. My mom from Trinidad and Tobago, my dad from Nigeria, but they both came here specifically for college, and they met actually at Meharry, funny enough, during college. But that had an impact throughout my whole life because they left their home countries to come here for a better educational opportunity, and then they always pushed education as we were growing up as one of the most important things for you to succeed in life, whether it's for your career or just for your own um, like mental well-being. And that's, I would say, definitely those are the biggest influential people in my life.
Love it, man. Shout out to mom and dad and immigrant parents. They don't play, you know.
No, not at all.
Yeah, no,
Let me tell you,
education.
a
Yeah.
quick side note on that too. It's like they like push, and then like once they see that I was like good on my own, like I had my own internal drive, then they started to back off. So I was like,
Okay.
it's like he just wanted to push me up to the point where I got that own drive myself, and now I could take it the rest of the way.
Yeah. I love it. That's awesome. Awesome. All right, man. Where can people find you at online?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn as Habeeb Kotun Jr. I am on GitHub. JRKOTUN is my name over there. And then along with work, school, I also am a fragrance influencer on Instagram. So if you are into fragrances or anything scent wise, I'm on Instagram under the Scent Sire.
Look, man, shout out to, man, multi-talented out here, man. Shout out to the content. Shout out to, the GitHub repositories and continuous learning, brother, man. That's awesome. So, as I said, well, let me close it out because I'm gonna edit this out. Uh, Man, thank you so much for joining, Habib. Man, this was great. This was fantastic, man. Thank you so much for taking time out today to record.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, no problem. And as I said in the beginning, if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. We'll talk to y'all next week. Have a great day.